Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video I didn't particularly want to make. I really didn't see myself in the situation where I wanted to speak about this on YouTube. But after considering, you know what, it's a topic, there's a discussion surrounding it, and I guess a lot of people actually do want to see my opinions on it. I put up a post last night after the game had finished asking what people would maybe want me to focus my video on today, and the comments that did pop up on it were all surrounded about the conversation that you can already tell the title, and that is Kris Boyd and the Kris Boyd Lee Griffiths situation that kind of unravelled itself last night in the match with Celtic and Kilmarnock. Now, just very quickly before we get out of the way, this is the third video in a row where I've not deliberately spoke about Lee Griffiths. Yesterday's video was purely transfer talk about Griffiths. The video before was about him coming back into the Celtic side, and today it's more surrounding the comments that were made towards Lee Griffiths. This will be the last one of the week. I don't want to see one of those situations where I'm abusing something, because I'm not. I'm here to give my opinion on everything that has, you know, kind of just came out over the past 24 hours with Kris Boyd and Lee Griffiths, and give my sort of feelings towards it, which I believe will be very similar to the majority of Celtic fans. But you'll see plenty of them, the opinions on Twitter, on Facebook, everything else. You'll pass tons of them. This is simply just going to be a platform to give mine on it, because it is something that I believe Celtic fans have got the right to go out and defend Lee Griffiths over and give their opinions on, because at the end of the day, what Kris Boyd said and done was, you know, out of line. To try and put it as bluntly as possible. Before we jump into that, very quickly, the game itself between Kilmarnock and Celtic, very happy with how it went. I think we responded perfectly to the critics that, you know, judged the performance against Rangers and said, you know, this could be the downfall of Celtic, blah, blah. You know, you get all the overreactions. I think it was a nice way to calm everything down, show that everything's okay. And it's a good marker to try and, you know, set ourselves on for the rest of the season, while also, you know, implement a new system, which was nice to see has kind of started working a little bit. So hopefully it goes on. It was nice to see Lee Griffiths contribute to 2 of the goals, obviously getting a goal and an assist in the game yesterday. So a very good performance overall, and a very strong response from the loss against Rangers on the 29th. Still top of the table. And hopefully that will go on and continue as the games, you know, kind of even up. But we'll soon see. But the video itself, Kris Boyd and Lee Griffiths, if you're unfamiliar with the situation and the scenario, it kind of dates back a little bit. Kris Boyd has definitely got an agenda set out on Lee Griffiths. He's got a personal thing going on with him, in the sense where he likes to be a harsh critic on our striker. Now, I don't know what it spawns from. I don't know if it's just purely Celtic-Rangers rivalry. Obviously, Kris Boyd being a former Rangers man, and Lee Griffiths being someone who has been very open about his thoughts towards Rangers and very controversial in what he does against Rangers. You know, the tying the scarves to the goalposts and all the rest of it. Obviously, there's something there between Kris Boyd and Griffiths. But basically, a couple of months ago, maybe at the start of the month, or just in December time, Kris Boyd wrote an article saying that Lee Griffiths had 4 games to save his Celtic career. Now, I think at the time, a lot of people wouldn't have disputed that against Kris Boyd. I think the way he wrote the article and the way that he titled it and such and headlined it, I think was a bit harsh on Griffiths at the time. Looking back on it now, you know, it seemed kind of like, let's go out and attack Lee Griffiths here. I basically gave him pelters and saying, you know, he's dubbed. He's not going to be a Celtic player for much longer. And now, within the space of that article being wrote and Lee Griffiths returning to the Celtic squad and what happened last night, Griffiths has had 2 appearances for Celtic, scored twice and assisted 1. I think he's pretty much saved his Celtic career, as Kris Boyd said he would have to. But after he scored his goal yesterday, Lee Griffiths, we've seen his kind of celebration towards what seems to be Kris Boyd. I don't think anyone can confirm that, but let's put 2 and 2 together here, lads. Towards Kris Boyd, where he basically shushed him. You know, quite rightly so. Kris Boyd being a harsh critic of Lee Griffiths over the past couple of months. I think Lee Griffiths was just getting one back on him. And then after the game had finished, on the post-match sort of interviews, Kris Boyd let it all go. He let everything come out of his mouth, and looking back on it, I don't know if Kris Boyd will respond to it, but I hope he does, because I think he's got a lot of explaining to do. Kris Boyd basically came out and made a tit of himself, to say the least. So quickly going to pull up the quote from everything that was said. I feel like I don't need to educate everybody that's watching the videos here and tell them what's happened, because it's been covered by everyone. You've seen everyone's tweets on the situation. It's been blown up. People are not happy at all. It's had a very, very bad response. So basically, Kris Boyd has came out and said, from the day that Brendan Rodgers came to Celtic, the Celtic have played, I think it was 135 games, and inside those 135 games, Lee Griffiths has only competed in 34. And his words were, when you look at the stats, and you can't argue with stats, it shows you that he's not good enough. He's not training hard enough. He's not playing well enough. The attitude's not there. He basically came out and berated the guy, while clearly forgetting that the reason that Lee Griffiths took time out of football was to focus on his mental health, because he was suffering from whatever his own personal issues were. Now, Kris Boyd is an ambassador for his own mental health charity, and the thing that annoys me about it isn't just what Kris Boyd said, because if you look at it from a standpoint of a neutral, you may pick that up, and you may perceive what he is saying as, oh, he's only played 35 times in 135 games, let's just let things calm down, there's a reason Griffiths hasn't been getting as many games this year. You could look at it as that, but it's not. It's the way that Kris Boyd comes across. He comes across with such a, as I used the word earlier, an agenda. He seems very smug when saying it. He's going right in for the guy, while completely forgetting what Lee Griffiths has had to endure and go through in the last sort of, 12 to even longer than that, 12 months to 20, you could say the last 2 years. But Lee Griffiths has had to sit in the sidelines because of so many issues that none of us can even begin to understand. We're not in Lee Griffiths' head. Kris Boyd is not in Lee Griffiths' head. Kris Boyd has got his own life to focus on, right? Probably cutting down in the pies, but he's not got an ounce of any sort of sense to what Lee Griffiths having to go through, and he's just jumped on him. He's attacked him in a sense, and I think it's quite sickening, to say the least. Very quickly, a point that was actually brought up on the newest edition of the Talk Scottish Football podcast that I host with my friend David. David brought this up. Kris Boyd's a character who moaned at a manager and was raging because, and this was at the end of his career, of course, he's moaned at Griffiths, right? He's moaned at Griffiths for the lack of footballing he's had in the last couple of years. Boyd actively came out and moaned at the fact the manager wasn't letting him eat pies during the week leading up to a game. Think about it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not coming out on this channel and saying Lee Griffiths is an angel. I'm not saying Lee Griffiths is perfect. We all know Lee Griffiths has done things in the past that may reflect badly in his career, and a lot of people, both of opposition and even some Celtic fans, have bad views on Lee Griffiths. There's bad opinions on both sides on the guy. But what we know is that's in the past, right? The reason he's not been playing football is because what's been going on in his own mind. And I feel like we can't begin to even judge Lee Griffiths for what that is, because we're not living his life. And Kris Boyd has just came out without consideration for an ounce of that, when he should know better than anyone. And it's especially because it's on live television, Live television coming out saying that. You don't know how it's going to affect the guy. And it's only going to make... Obviously, we've seen last night Lee Griffiths... See, this is what I mean. I'm not painting the picture he's perfect. Lee Griffiths last night retaliated to a fan who was apparently giving him abuse to the fans. Lee Griffiths goes through so much abuse every week. And I'm not saying other players in the league don't, but Lee Griffiths, particularly for Celtic anyway, every week is getting, abuse from fans around the country. He retaliated last night, I think, in all fairness to him, because he was the victim of, a confrontational sort of bit of fan abuse last night, and he retaliated, which I think is, in that situation, after everything he's been going through, you can't blame the guy. I'm not saying it's right, but you can't blame him for doing it. And you even seen big Craig Gordon going over and confronting the guy who was giving Lee Griffiths the abuse, which shows you it wasn't just a wee flash in the pan, typical angry Lee Griffiths. It was because something personal was going on there, something that was out of line. And Craig Gordon has got himself actively involved in the situation because of how bad it is. Now, Kris Boyd is taking all of this away, and he's painted the picture last night that Lee Griffiths is, a bad guy, right? Because that's what's going to get spread from this. Because I know Kris Boyd is talking strictly football, and he's only played because of this, that, next thing. But the image he's painting of this is forgetting everything that happened with Lee Griffiths. He's painting him he's not good enough. He's talking to Steve Clarke, the Scotland manager, right beside him about, how he's not in the Scotland team and this, that, next thing. I think Kris Boyd has got to come out and rectify a lot of the problems that is spawned from this last night, because it's not just directly what Boyd says as well, it's what comes from it, it's what sprouts elsewhere in the media, and how it affects Lee Griffiths. Now, I know there's got to be Rangers fans already thinking, and they've probably not even lasted to this point in the video to hear this point, so I'm not even going to do the justifying of myself in the comment section where people say, oh, what about Morelos? I understand Morelos goes through similar abuse week in, week out at stadiums around the country from fans of every team, including Celtic fans as well. Morelos gets stick. I don't think it's got anything to... I think in this situation, yes, every player deserves equal sort of rights when it comes to being on the park and and what happens to them and retaliation and this, that and next thing. I'm not saying Morelos doesn't deserve this too. And some people in the media talk about Morelos in a way which is just similar to what Boyd done to Griffiths last night. But in this situation, I'm talking, it's not like I'm ignoring Morelos, it's a Celtic channel, right? I'm going to be talking about Celtic players. I'm not going to come out of my way to make a video on Morelos. My thoughts on Morelos is the same as any other footballer. They shouldn't have to go through one-on-one confrontational stick anywhere in the country. But what Kris Boyd done last night is simply out of line. And that is the general response you're going to get from Celtic all over the social media, from Twitter to Facebook. All fans have gave their piece on it, and I think Kris Boyd has got some answers. A lot of people calling for his sacking. Don't know what you think on that. I mean, there will be people you get who blow things out of context, but this, I mean, for me, it's something that Kris Boyd should have put a lot more thought into before blowing his mic, and I don't know if it's a personal thing, I don't know if he was just reacting and angry towards Griffiths' celebration, but it should be kept off of the television screens, and his personal thoughts, his thoughts have to be kept in mind of Griffiths, because his mental state is nothing that we can understand. Anyway, I basically said what I have to say. It was something I didn't really want to speak on, but I know it's kind of a rambly thing. But everybody's opinion's out there. I know people wanted to hear my opinion. That's basically what I have to give. If you have enjoyed the video, you know what to do, like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. And let's keep the comment section sort of clean in this one. But feel free to leave your opinions in the comments below. And I'll see you all next time.